Hey everybody, I just wanted to welcome you to today's webinar, and thanks for taking out your time to be on here. So today's webinar is actually, we're going to be talking about buying distressed properties using creative financing strategies with Dr. Imran Clark, Daryl Kukan, and myself, Pete Sanchez III. So a little bit about me, guys. I'm 33 years old now. I was introduced to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad at 21, and for any of you who've read this book, I mean, you're probably like me, where it just blew your mind to the content of what's in this book. And I made a decision that I wanted to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life after that. Because once you read that book, I mean, there's no turning back, guys. So fast forward now, 11 years later since I've read that book. Just amazing where I've come from being software engineering background to multipreneur. I have experience in network marketing, real estate investing, internet marketing, and just there's some of the pictures there of just some of the highlights of many things I've done. And I'm not saying this to brag or boast, but what is possible when you hang out with the right people, read the right books, and just change your life. So yeah, so as you can see some of the pictures there, been able to travel the world, speak on stages as big as 15,000 people. And one of the biggest highlights there in the lower right, my wife and I, when we got married, we went on a 6-month honeymoon around the world, which was pretty amazing. So highly recommend, if you're going to get married, you guys got to go on a really long honeymoon because this whole 2 weeks thing is not going to cut it. So cool. Well, my life, definitely changed in the real estate investing world in April 2010 when I got educated in real estate investing. And, I met an awesome community, especially these two guys right here who became my mentors and are still my mentors today. And this was a picture of just my first short sale flip back in April 2010, and, made $50,000 with them. And it was just really amazing as they held my hand through the transaction. I took the education, I learned it, I applied it, and my mentors, Dr. Imran, there on the right-hand side, and Daryl Kukan there on the left, were a big part of my success, and and I'm really excited to basically bring them up because they're going to be talking about the real estate content part of today's webinar, which again we're going to be talking about introduction to a distress buying properties. So I'm going to go ahead and just give them the stage here. But these guys are just, they're amazing human beings, first-class human beings, very successful in the real estate investing community. And so here you go, guys. So you guys have the stage here.
Hey, Pete, thank you so much.
Hey, Pete, thank you so much. That was a great introduction, except that picture. Yeah, back in 2010, of course. That's funny.
Yeah, we look a little young and in better shape there. But awesome. So, thanks again. I'm Dr. Imran Clark, and Daryl and I, we got into this back in the education portion, 2006, 2007, but was doing some real estate before that. So combined, we've got 24 years between us in real estate investing.
We've done over 400 deals completed, and we do actually, to this day, we run one of the largest investment clubs, the San Diego Investment Club in the nation, with about 4,000 members, almost 4,000 members at this point.
Right, and we've been at this for a while, just kind of, doing our thing. So we get kind of found out doing enough deals and helping enough people. So we've ended up in a few newspaper articles and business journals and real estate podcasts and little radio broadcasts. So it's fun.
It's absolutely amazing. And to be honest, though, this isn't something that, Imran and I started out doing. My background comes actually just from working many jobs, working at Subway sandwiches and the grocery stores. And what got me interested was the same book, the Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then when I read that, I realized that real estate is actually the way to wealth. It kind of opened my mind, right? I wasn't taught those things. My parents didn't force me to go to college. Although I also have a PhD, it's only a public high school diploma. So That's okay though, because what the education that we've learned from gave us the tools and resources to be able to do what we do today. It was a struggle, it wasn't like this was easy for me to do. Even during my time of this process of going through and transitioning into real estate, I knew I was going to make $1 million, right? Well, that didn't happen. I actually ended up going homeless for a bit. However, knowing the knowledge that I'd received and just pushing forward, right, I was able to overcome those obstacles. And, after partnering with Imran, we've had years where we've made millions of dollars. So that's just a little tiny story about my background.
Yeah, and me, I come from a completely different background. Like Daryl here is an only child. I'm the oldest of 5, so, just different family dynamics. And my family was the high education family. What you do is you go and get educated, and then you get a job. And if you want a better job, you get more education. So I did it ad nauseum. I ended up getting my PhD from UCLA in molecular and cell biology. Ended up in San Diego doing a postdoctorate, and then went into the biotech industry. And I worked in the biotech industry as a senior scientist for 10 years. But, there's this idea of security by getting more education and a better job, and it turned out to not be true. Just the way things were in San Diego, no fault of my own, I ended up going through 3 jobs in 2 years. We had one company, the company ran out of money and got bought out, and they let a lot of folks go. Another company actually was doing well and IPO'd, but the investor, the chairs, let go of the executives and plus streamlined a lot of us. So that happened, and then I was at another company that ran out of money and then hired us back, and I worked for that company 3 times as they went through their phases. So with that, I was like, gosh, there's got to be a better way to establish security and take care of myself. And even with a good matching 401k plan, I ran the math, and I figured out that I could work for 200 years and I would never be able to retire. Right? So, corporate America is not going to take care of us. The government's not going to really take care of us. If you let them, it's not going to be in the way you want. You've got to take care of yourself. So I took it upon myself. I was ignorance on fire, got into real estate, did really well until the market shifted and the cheese moved, right? And I realized I didn't know how to move with the cheese. I didn't have any education. And that's when I found Renatus. And that changed everything. Now with the education, I've got multiple strategies. I've got the community. The people are a big part of it. And that's how Daryl and I met, and we partnered up.
Right, through the community.
Exactly. And we've been killing it ever since. So we partnered up in 2009. So we're coming up on 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you guys are ready, let's move on, and we'll show you just a couple of deals that we've done.
On this one, right? 3 deals.
About 3 deals, and then what we'll show you is just a few creative ways that we were able to get these deals done. So what is a distressed property? Well, I guess the definition is pretty simple. Just distressed property usually fetches a price that's much below its market value due to hardship. Examples of hardship are pre-foreclosure, probate, divorce, tax delinquencies, those kinds of property.
Right, and it doesn't even have to be like a major hardship. It could be just a life event that requires urgency, like you get a job in another state, right? And you just got to sell fast, right? So there's a lot of reasons people need to sell below market fast.
Exactly. So let's go over some real-world case studies. And Imran, you want to take the first one?
Sure. Okay, so this is one we did. We're here in San Diego County, so we're going to talk about some of our actual deals. This was in Escondido, which is in North San Diego County. And we did this one subject to. So we came across it because we were sifting through a lot of distressed properties. We implement different strategies. And we can't go through, all the details because this in itself is like an 8-hour class, right?
Right.
But let me just hit the numbers real quick. So our purchase price was $130,000, but this is creative acquisition, so we didn't have to come up with $130,000 of our own dollars. This particular house, they were in a foreclosure situation. If it sold at market value, it was probably just a little bit underwater, okay, especially with being behind on payments, so they would have to make up those payments and paying a real estate agent. So the seller wasn't in a position to where they could just sell it at market and then take care of the foreclosure situation. They needed a specialist to come in. And, instead of doing a short sale or something, we saw an opportunity to implement a creative acquisition. So the remaining principal on the loan, as you can see, was $110,000, which is right about what market value was. But they were behind about 15 grand, okay? And then they went to retail route. They would have had to pay realtor fees and everything and just couldn't quite cut it. So in this case, we negotiated a subject to. A subject to is basically where you take over the payments on somebody else's loan. You don't take over the loan like you swap your name on it. There's a trust issue here because their name is still on the loan, but they're transferring title of the property over to you. Okay, and it sounds like maybe something simple to do, but if you do it the wrong way or you don't explain it in the right way, you can run into problems. Either they're just not going to trust you, the seller's not going to want to work with you, or you're not going to do it in a way that protects everybody's interest properly. And that's really where the education comes in. So let's run the numbers. So we had $110,000 left on the principal of this loan. Okay. We needed to make up the back payments. That's where we came up with some money. We raised $110,000, by the way. That loan is OPM, right? I just showed you how to raise a quick $110,000 right there. We raised it from corporate bank. I forget who the bank was on this, Wells Fargo or somebody. We brought $15K in to bring it current, and then we gave $5,000 cash for keys to that seller. It's not easy to be in the tough situation they are and just move on, right? You got to move. You got to get into like a rental somewhere. So a little bit of cash in their hand is really, really helpful. And, they weren't asking for a whole lot. We got them with $5K. So that was our $20,000 sort of down. You add that to the 110 loan, and that's our $130,000 purchase. Now, the PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, on that $110,000 loan was $750 a month. Well, guess what? Market rent, and we proved it correct because we did rent it out for a couple of years, was $1,500. So we had rent that was twice what the PITI was on that loan. And that, my friends, is how you cash flow in San Diego County. Normally you go out of state, right? So we were cash flowing this for a couple of years. The market ran up. We decided to liquidate at $230,000. We sold it. So not only did we cash flow for 2 years positive, but we sold it and made a cool $100,000 a couple of years later. Who wouldn't do that deal? And if you don't have that $20,000 for the cash for keys and to make up the difference, you can find a partner, right? I mean, who wouldn't want a partner for 20 grand to do this deal? And so we've got trust here as the key ingredient to this. And trust is, there's two types of trust here. There's the trust between ourselves, the buyer, and the seller, and us getting them to trust them to do this type of transaction. And there's actually legal technical ways to set it up to really cover everybody. But also, one thing you people worry about is a due on sale clause when you're taking over payments on a loan and the title to the property is transferring. The lender on that mortgage could call the loan due and say, no, we're not going to allow that. Now, the typical truth is that the lender is just happy to get their payments. But one thing we do, and I'll give you this one little nugget, is right before we buy that property and have it, take it over, we have the seller transfer that property into a trust, right? So it could be 123 Main Street Trust, where they're the beneficiary and the trustee. And then during the sale, we keep the property in the trust, and that's what's recorded as the new owner. And we have them transfer the beneficial interest and the trusteeship over to us or our company. So basically, now we are the owners and beneficiaries and in control of that trust. And banks are used to seeing people drop things in a trust. So it's just a way to kind of sort of make things a little nice and soft and put another barrier between us to avoid triggering a due on sale clause. It's no guarantee, but we think it helps mitigate that. So that's that one deal. And moving on to the next one, Daryl, I think you're going to talk about this deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And this happens actually to be our very first deal we did as partners.
Right.
This was in Chula Vista, and again, California. And this was as the market was going down, way back in 2008, 2009, when we had the big crash, right? Well, it didn't even hit bottom yet, right? We were still probably a little bit halfway there, maybe a little bit more. However, this property, between the first and second liens on the property, had $800,000 in loans. And because of the training that we got, and because of the way that we understood how the banks worked their numbers in their back office, we were able to negotiate a purchase price of $190,000, even though the bank sent their appraiser out and it appraised for $300,000, right? That's the most important part of what we feel a short sale flip is. Now, this is the nugget right here, is every single time, and actually this goes for just about all deals, that you have got to be present for that appraiser. Because the appraisers, or even the BPO oftentimes wants to just drive by and look at the front of the house. Well, if you're standing in front of this house, you would actually have noticed that the house was sort of leaning a little bit. This thing had such bad termite damage that the house was almost falling apart. So what's great is we were able to get this appraiser to walk through. In fact, he actually wouldn't even walk through. We had caution tape around it. We gave him the list of repairs. We gave him all the ammunition he needed to do to go back to the bank to tell the bank, man, this house is a piece of crap. You guys need to let this thing go. So again, with the training that we had, we were able to negotiate this thing for $190,000. But here's the fun part. The fun part is we resold this on the same day that we bought it, within a couple of hours, for $265,000 to an all-cash buyer. Now, was it all of our money? Absolutely not. Do you think we could have came up with $190,000 on our very first deal? Well, the answer is yes. Actually, we did. 5 days before we got this thing funded, we found a couple of investors, and we found one investor that was willing to front the entire purchase price, the entire closing costs, for a relatively small fee. And the reason was because we had all of our ducks in a row. We had all the paperwork. This thing was ironclad. There was no way this investor was going to lose his money. So we ended up finding this investor 5 days before we closed. He looked over all the paperwork, said yes. He gave us the entire $190,000 purchase price plus some, extra for closing costs. After we sold the property for $265,000, it was about $75,000 gross. And after closing costs and paying the investor back, our net profit in our pockets was $56,000. So again, golden nugget, always meet your BPO or always meet the appraiser of the property, whether you're buying it or whether you're selling it.
I like saying another nugget right there is people wonder how they're going to get the money. If you're trained and educated properly and you put together these ironclad deals with huge profit margins, you'll have no problems getting investor partners to come in with you. So the education is key to being able to trade. The right deal brings the money, right?
Right. Well, and speaking of deal, you have to realize that deals aren't out there. Deals aren't found. Deals are created.
Right.
So do you think that this just fell in our lap? Absolutely not. We were able to create this deal, and that's why we were able to buy it for $190,000. So
yeah, anybody else would have had to pay $300 for it because that's what the bank wanted.
That's what the bank wanted, right? So I guess we'll move on to number 3. Imran, you want to talk about that one?
Sure. Let's talk about number 3. So this is a seller finance, another creative acquisition. And so this was an interesting one. It sits on Lake Murray, which is why you got the kind of funny picture there looking down the street. So it's a corner lot. That's the yard of the house, and it's looking down. You can't really see it well, but the lake is right there across the street. It's a very desirable location. And this was a semi-off market. It wasn't on the MLS or anything. By the way, that's one thing we avoid. You really want to get to off market and be the person, that's talking directly to the seller. If you got stuff that's on the market and every, Tom, Dick, and Harry is bidding on it, there's so many folks that don't understand the numbers and overbid and lose money on these properties. But this one was on Craigslist, so it did have a little bit of public exposure, enough that there were 4 other investment groups that saw it. And what's funny is the $265,000 purchase price you see there is the price that the seller put out as what they wanted for a property that was actually in its as-is condition on that day worth $450,000. So they were already taking a discount. They had some needs and wants, so they were willing to give up equity in order to get certain terms. And the reason that we won this deal at their price over 4 other investment groups was because, again, of our training and the education. So these other folks, I think we were the first ones he spoke to, and he said he was going to talk to these other people. And then he called us back and said he wanted to go with us. And he told us these other folks were throwing him, $150,000 higher than the $265 purchase price, because they could have done some upgrades to it and sold it for even more than the $450. They looked at it as a flip, and they were not servicing this seller's true needs and wants. And because we understood that even better than that seller did, because they had some kind of sort of fuzzy gray needs and wants. And so we locked it down, we walked them through it, we explained why if we do the seller finance and we do it at this rate and we do it for this amount of time, we give you 10% down, then you're going to balloon out. One thing they wanted to do is stay in the property for a little while, rent back in a way, and then they would balloon out on the seller finance note, and they were going to go out to the desert and retire and get a cheaper property and kind of live off of their retirement. So we won the deal off of knowledge. And if we run the numbers on this, we got an instant discount, but we couldn't cash in on it right away. We actually had to be in it for a minimum of 4 years with the seller. It was worth $450. We bought it for $265. So we already had an instant $185,000 of equity. We did come up with some money. We were doing really well by this point, so we had the cash laying around. We did the 10% down, $26,500. All right. The rest of it was the seller finance note, for the rest of that $265. So that's your $238,500. After 4 years, he moved on. We cashed him out on the rest of his seller finance note, and we had it appraised actually we rented it out for a year first. So now we own this thing free and clear and rented for about $3,000 a month. So we made money on the rent. And then when those renters moved out, we had it appraised at $620. So now we're 5 years later. We decided it was a good time to cash out, and so we put it on the market. We asked for the $620. Within a few days, we got $650 all cash, so we made out really well. As one of the other interesting things about this deal is that seller finance note was at a 0% interest rate. So we actually did not pay more than $265,000 for that house. We didn't add any interest on top of it. It was basically an installment sale. I mean, how amazing is that? And so the nugget on this one was really understanding what was in it for that seller, right? I mean, yes, we were making a profit on this. There was some delayed gratification, but we couldn't really think about what we were getting out of it. We had to think about what can we do to help this particular seller in this situation. They had reasons they wanted to stay in the house. They had reasons they needed a little bit of a 10% down. They had reasons they needed a balloon payment. They needed it structured in a way where everybody felt like all of their needs and wants were going to be served and protected properly, and that came from the training. So by doing that, we traded terms. We gave them some terms, and we got our price and got equity. And people will do that all day long in the right situation. This definitely was a home run deal. I mean, who wouldn't do that? $265 in, 0% seller finance, cash out at $650.
Home run, right?
Home run, right.
And we could sit here and talk all day long about all these deals that we've done. However, this time I think due to time, we want to respect your time. We're going to actually turn it back over to Pete. We've known Pete for a while, right?
Since 2010?
Since 2010.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Pete actually went through the same training we did.
Yeah.
So Renatus, it is actually the premier real estate investing education company in the country, hands down. If we had to do anything else, if we only had to pick one training company to do, no question about it, it'd be Renatus. The training is top-notch. Not only that, though, it's the community as well, the resources of the community.
Yeah, guys. Hey, thanks again, Pete, for having us on. Really appreciate being able to share a few nuggets. It is all about the education and training and right stuff, but I think you're going to talk about community now, and that is such an important component of this, is just being around the right people and milling around, being able to network and having access to so many different folks with different knowledge and strategies. You know, Daryl and I bounce ideas off folks all the time, even you, and you bounce stuff off us, and that is a huge help. You don't have to lone wolf this. So, hey, Pete, we're going to hand it over to you. Thanks again so much. Really appreciate you, man.
Really appreciate you, Pete. You know, you guys, Pete is one of the top trainers here in Renatus in the country, and I'll tell you what, I am so proud to be, you know, partnering with him on deals and just surrounding with him. So, you know, again, thank you again, Pete, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time and amazing content. So thank you guys again for that. So perfect. So let's move on here, guys. So again, as Daryl was mentioning, basically, who are we, right? We keep talking about, you know, our success and, you know, how we got training and all that. And again, this is Renatus. It's the premier real estate investing, again, it's the premier real estate investing education period in the country. And we have local communities from coast to coast all over the nation, even some communities in Hawaii. So it's pretty awesome. So who we are not. So guys, we are not a guru program. So we just don't believe in that model. Have you guys ever gone to any of these, you know, Rich Dad Education, you know, Trump University, you know, that's no longer, you know, available. But I remember myself, you know, going to one of these seminars back in 2006, if I remember correctly. And you know, you'll see a lot of these stuff, right? Property wars and, you know, and the reality of it is that, you know, you're going to go to these courses, you know, these boot camps. They're going to shove so much information when your mind only can basically comprehend and only absorb 10% of it anyway. So you're going to spend $50,000 plus, you know, to absorb only 10%. This is why, you know, statistically so many people will fail, is because it's very challenging. I mean, real estate investing is not an easy business, and you need to be able to have the right education. And most importantly, you got to have mentorship and a community that you can, you know, bounce ideas off, just like I was able to, you know, partner up with Daryl and Imran on many transactions, and that's the best way and only way to make it happen. So we are not a guru program, guys. So again, TV gurus is not the answer. You'll see there on the left-hand side an example of HGTV. You know, they talk about this house, $400,000. You know, needs $140,000 in repairs. It could sell for $610, and an estimated profit, you can make $70,000. Yet when you you know, put these numbers in the actual investor spreadsheet, and you have all the costs there, you know, holding costs, sales costs, you know, basically just all these costs, you'll see that this is actually only a almost $21,000 profit, 4%, you know, ROI. So very, very risky transaction, guys, to put in $140,000 in repairs to only make $20,000. This is definitely not a great deal, and you know, this is how you lose your shorts, guys. It's stuff like this. But this is what the TV people are showing you. They make it seem so easy. So again, TV gurus is not the answer. So what is it that we have done differently? So the founder, Bob Snyder, he's the founder of Renatus, and what he did was he hired a PhD in education, and what he wanted to stand out. He wanted to do something different, you know, because he loves financial literacy. He loves real estate investing. So what he did was, you know, he sought out and looked for trained investors, you know, basically true practitioner instructors to come and teach courses. Now, these guys are not people that have made money back in the days. These are people who are practicing their niche right now, and they need to make at least $1 million, you know, from that strategy to be able to be instructors. So it's not somebody who, you know, made a lot of money 30 years ago and is an instructor now. No, they're out there day in, day out, blood, sweat, and tears. And you know, currently there's over 20,000 students, so pretty amazing. We have live classes and on-demand, you know, education. So a lot of us just watch these classes online. You're able to download the audio files, download the workbooks. You could take the assessment, and then, you know, you take an assessment at the end. It's not like you know, high school or college where, you know, you're graded, but it's just nice to see, you know, what you retain from the information. So how does our courses work? Come in different packages. So this is the first one. It's called the Essentials coursework, and it's considered the 100, 200 level classes. How I like to, you know, kind of create a comparison is basically this is like our general ed education curriculum. So when you go to college, right, you take your general ed, you take your math, your history, your science, and whatnot, and then you're going to go on to your majors. Well, again, we have the same system that, the instructional system design that colleges use. So when you come into Renatus, we want to make sure that you have a solid foundation of your general ed before you go into your, majors, whether that's a fix and flip, short sales, or whatnot. So within the essentials coursework, you have classes like, creative acquisitions, how to get very creative with putting deals structuring together, real estate marketing, right? Because, if you don't understand how to market for real estate properties, you're not going to go out there and probably have success with getting deals, right? What are some real estate red flags there on the left-hand side? You probably want to know what are some red flags before you get yourself into a deal. Maybe you have a, self-directed IRA. Maybe you have maybe you have like an IRA or 401k that you want to self-direct. You're tired of putting the money into mutual funds. You don't even know where this money is going, so you'd like to learn how to self-direct it and, take control of your money and invest it where you want to. My favorite classes have been the tax and legal strategies class. You learn so much, guys. This guy makes learning taxes sexy. I'm telling you, when you watch these classes, and he's going to teach you just some really creative legal ways of, paying less in taxes. It just blows your mind. And one of the hottest class that just got introduced, pretty recently is the velocity banking class. So it's like how to take a mortgage, 30-year mortgage and, pay it an average of 7 to 10 years depending on your financial situation. So that's a huge class. It's how to restructure your debt. So that's a very hot class right now because a lot of people are, doing that right now. This is information that the banks do not want you to know. So it's a very hot class. So again, this is our essentials coursework, and this is what is considered our general ed. Okay, so just in summary, the essentials course basically is 11 8-hour courses, so total 88 hours, and then we have a weekly study review group sessions where that's every week we meet and we mastermind on the education locally, in the city nearby you, and that adds another 52 hours. So in total, guys, you're going to get 115 hours of education, amazing education. So okay, so then once we get our foundation, our general ed, right, it's time to choose our major, so to speak. So which majors are we going to choose, right? Are we going to do the fix and flip route? Do we want to be, do we want to be an expert in that? Do you want to do lease options, short sales, and within the short, within the tracks, you can see like there's more classes under it. So let's say, let's say you want to major in short sales. Just like when I got started, I was like, man, I want to major in short sales. So, I took short sales day 1 and 2. I learned about foreclosures and auctions and, market analysis and understanding mortgages, and that's the route I went. So maybe you want to, it all depends on your strengths and where do you want to go. So again, you take your general ed, you get a good foundation, and then you choose your major classes, and these are the vocational tracks that you have, that you're able to choose from. And again, we have so much help, guys. This is what really, really separates us from the guru programs. We have group coaching, we have one-on-one coaching. The classes are live. You like to attend them. We have monthly workshops where we bring in, either a student who's excelling or an actual Renatus instructor, and they'll come and teach us for a one-day workshop, of what their niche is. And so it's pretty awesome. That's part of our education. We have the weekly study review groups, again, where we all come together as a mastermind, and we're all taking the same classes together, and then we come in and we talk about what we learn. We ask questions, Q&A. People bring deals to the table, and it's a community, guys. You come together, you actually see people, not like the gurus, right? The gurus, you're going to invest in your education. You're going to get a phone number to your coach who probably lives out of state. So, that's not the way to learn, guys. And we have daily webinars and calls all throughout the day where it's not just calls on real estate, but it's like mindset stuff, personal development, prospecting. We have a student of the week type of testimonies where you get to hear students all over the country who are taking this education and, doing very, very well with it. So it's just, it's really cool to see there's so much people from different walks, and what they're working on, and just it excites you and motivates you. You're like, man, this is awesome. Like, I'm looking forward to, when I can have, 100+ units, multifamily, or whatever that, whatever goal that might be. It becomes more real, guys, because you see so many people, making it happen with this education. So again, so how do our courses work? We have 3 different packages. We have the Essentials course, which I talked about. That's the general ed. All of our courses are complimentary lifetime access. And then you have the second package there, the advanced combo. Basically what that is you're able to choose two majors, two vocational tracks of the, what I showed you guys in the previous screen. So, and then the extreme combo basically gives you everything. It gives you, all our courses, access to the group coaching one-on-one, and again, it's always complimentary lifetime access. So this is huge, guys, because if you go to a guru program, and they come up with a new program or something like that, a year later, they're going to send you an email, hey, would you like access to, the new and improved information? Well, you're going to have to pay $597 for it, not with us, guys. Here in Renatus, you invest in your education, and you're going to have it complimentary lifetime access. This education is for you and the partner, so it's really nice. So what does the investments come out to? Essentials course is $2,000. Just kind of round it up there, and then advanced combo. Again, advanced combo, you're able to get the essentials plus you choose two majors. Whether that's you want to go the short sale route or the fix and flip, that's $8,000. And then you have the extreme combo, which is $20,000, which gives you access to everything, right? You get the essentials courses, you have access to all the major classes that you want to choose, you get all the coaching, complimentary lifetime access, you get everything. So this is the one where most of the people get started at. This is the one where, Daryl and Imran got started at. That's the one, this is the package I got started on, is the extreme combo, because the value was there. It was a no-brainer. So, and again, this is for two students, so which is really nice because you get to share, share the investment with somebody. Maybe you bring in a partner or a family member and like, hey, let's go into this, and hey, if you can split the cost, that is awesome, and it just makes it even more valuable. So again, the extreme combo gives you essentials courses, all the major classes, all the coaching gives for $20,000. Advanced combo, you're able to get the general ed essentials courses plus two majors. That's $8,000. And then the essentials courses, right, which is the classes and group coaching, complimentary lifetime access again. That's $2,000. So extreme combo 20, advanced 8, essentials 2,000. Yeah, you get to try the classes for free. Hey, so you do have to invest in your education first, but you're able to watch the classes, see if this is something that you really want to commit to, and the company allows you to watch the information for 7 days, which is really, really nice. So we always tell people, hey, don't let the money get in the way of your dreams. Why? Because there's going to be a follow-up process. Tomorrow or the next day, we're going to go through a follow-up of 15 ways to basically help you fund the education. Because part of being a real estate investor is you're going to have to learn how to raise private capital. Well, we have 15 ways to help you fund your education, and we have financing available as well. So it's 100% acceptance regardless of your credit, and we can go more into that into the follow-up. But this is my favorite part, guys. This is why I got started with Renatus, is because of the community aspect. This is so huge, and why? Because we support and help each other succeed. No one here is competition. We look at each other as collaboration. So we're all here to help each other out and all make money together. Because I don't know about you, but I've gone to a lot of networking events, and everyone's in it for themselves. It's what can I take from you, and I don't want to share anything. I don't want to share about my marketing or anything, because I'm seeing you as competition, not within our community here. It's like, hey, how can I help you? Let's partner up. What do you need? What kind of resources do you need? Let's do this together, and that's so huge, guys. So we have communities all over the nation, guys. You can see there: Chicago, Washington D.C., Tinley Park, Indianapolis, Arizona, Utah, up and down California, where we're at. We're here in San Diego, California, New York, Seattle, Tucson, Phoenix, Scottsdale. There's so much offices there. Dallas. We have some in El Paso. Durham, North Carolina. Here in San Diego, locally where we live, we have the East County group in Santee. We have the North County group. That's with my mentors there, Dr. Imran and Daryl. They live in the North County, San Diego area, so that's the office that they plug into. And then this is the office that I plug into. I'm more central San Diego, so I plug in with the Kearney Mesa group. So we have events going on throughout the whole week where people can come in and mastermind and partner up on deals. So it's really, really awesome. So being part of our community we do something what is called local real deal tours. So anytime there's a student, who's got an actual live property that they're working on, well, we as a community can go visit that property together, and they walk us through how they acquired it, how they financed it, any challenges that they went through, and we get to give any input, So it's a really awesome way just to see what other students are doing, and at the same time, it's a learning opportunity, so it's really, really cool. So local real deal tours. And here's just some pictures from, past real deal tours. This one was on October 21st in the North County area. And yeah, so real deal tour October 21st, North County area. And then the other one is the November 11th. This real deal tour was done in Escondido, so North County, San Diego. And then most recently, we had one in San Juan Capistrano, which is like Orange County area, as you can see there. So they took us through the numbers, what the purchase price was, the estimated repairs. So they broke it down, which was really, really cool to see all that that action, live right there on the spot. We got to ask a lot of questions. So we have team barbecue, guys, networking events where we're able to, come together regionally. All the offices get together. We have, carne asadas, hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever that might be. And it's just a great time to just get to know the community and network with one another. Here's some local testimonies that have came out from the education. So we have Jay Massey out of the Orange County, doing very, very well with multifamily. Kendall Stock, he actually was a student. Now he's an instructor. He's done over 300 deals, has raised over $4.5 million so far. And yeah, again, like I said, he was a student, and now he's an instructor, teaching about fix and flip and raising private capital. Amazing, amazing leader. Dr. Imran Clark and Daryl Krukan. So these are the guys that were talking earlier, and this is just another one of their projects that they're working on, which is a land development where they're doing this in San Diego, California. So that's me, guys. That's a little bit about some of the deals that I've done there. And then you have Brett Levitt here from the San Diego market as well. So he's out there doing some really creative, strategies, basically where he's the bank. It's pretty awesome. We have Sal Rodriguez from the Los Angeles market. 24-year-old kid, closed a really big, fix and flip project, made $108,000. You have Marshall Stanek, also here, local San Diego. He's more of the tax lien strategy guy. So as you can see there, some of the tax liens he's done. You have Joseph and Cindy, who just recently joined our community less than a year ago, and here's their first flip. Purchased it for $470, put 19 in repairs. After repair value, $570, made about $30,000 profit. So they're super excited on their first deal, and they'll always attribute it that, hey, I wouldn't have been able to do this if it weren't for the community. You have Stacy Johnson. She just recently joined us too. This is her first deal. She just closed this October 31st of this year, 2017, and purchase price $489, repairs $40,000, ARV is $630, and they're expected to make anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 profit, depending on closing costs and all that. So we have a private Facebook group, guys. So whoever invited you to this webinar, we can go ahead and add you to our private Facebook group, where we post leads and deals, and you just get to see what's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. So in summary, guys, what is it that we do is we solve problems. Basically, that's what we do. We solve problems. We have the best real estate investing education. We have an environment for personal growth. We have local communities all over the nation to help you, overcome any fears that you might have. And we already have all the systems in place, guys. The funding, the contractors, all that is available. So, tonight, basically, like tonight was just this is just an introduction, guys. So you want to sign up for more opportunities to learn more about what we're doing, right? And it's very simple, guys. All we need is a decision. We're decision collectors, and we're asking you to make a decision. So you're either an A, I'm all in, I'm ready to do this, just help me find the money. B, I have some questions. Hey, great, let's set up a follow appointment, come to one of our study review groups, get to know us more, and we'll help answer any of your questions at a follow-up meeting. Or C, maybe you're just not interested. And by this point, guys, I don't think there'll be any C's because, you would have gone off this webinar a long time ago. So A is you're all in. B, I have questions. C, not interested. So just get back when the person, get back with the person who invited you here, or if they call you, just let them know whether you're an A, B, or C. No hard feelings if it's not for you. And, schedule your next appointment. Let's sit down. Let's show you how we can help you get started, and let's do some deals together. So a new life awaits you guys. Congratulations. If you made a, commitment in your mind that you want to do this and you're ready to go, I want to congratulate you and welcome to the Renatus community.